if we can educate government and provide support to these startup and scale-ups, it's going to allow them to grow quicker and have more investment to scale overseas.
What makes Down Under a great test market for international startups? Why do you think the Australian startup ecosystem is struggling to attract investment? Hear the perspective of a leading Queensland serial entrepreneur and investor with a successful career across digital and IT on this episode of Tomorrow's Tech. I'm Ananya Dhyani, joined today by Lou Drury, founder and managing partner at Sprint Ventures, a leading Brisbane-based investment company. With a purpose to support founders leading exceptional next-generation startups and scale-ups build a better future, Sprint Ventures is boosting organizations across medtech, fintech, edtech, and more. Welcome, Lou.
Thanks for having me.
You have advanced in your career from a very successful entrepreneur to a very sought-after mentor and now to a VC. What inspired you to establish Sprint Ventures, and what are the most critical elements you look for when evaluating a business plan?
We set up Sprint Ventures to create a better tomorrow and, most importantly, support founders in their journey, allowing them to create the magic that is needed when you want to build a startup. We have an abundance model, which means giving back to the ecosystem, and this allows us to work with other VCs and other investors to invest and help them go global. We also look at the governance model of investment, and it's really important to get that right. We have Professor Michael Drew, who looks after the Investment Governance Committee at Sprint, which is second to none. But we invest across 4 pillars supporting that thesis of creating a better tomorrow, and they include medtech and aged care tech, prop tech and energy tech, AI and automation, and also, importantly at the moment, e-commerce and fintech. What we look for, though, across all those mandate is basically founders that can actually create awesome startups that are going to go global, and we also invest in the people that are the most resilient founders.
That sounds fascinating, Lou. Now, I understand that it's a very competitive market out there, and I'm sure you come across various profiles. But which of Sprint Ventures' recent investments are you most excited about?
Last year in Nanya, we saw 500 opportunities and we invested in 5 companies, and we've now got 8 in our portfolio at Sprint Ventures. 2 of those that stand out are UPay and also MediStays. UPay is transforming the buy now, pay later space. It's actually the first one in the third blue ocean of payments that allows someone else to pay for a purchase online or in store. And UPay is growing at a faster rate than many of the buy now, pay later companies. But most importantly, they're helping people not get into bad debt. And that's really important for creating a better tomorrow. The second company is MediStays, and MediStays we recently invested in, and they're helping people find accommodation through when they've got medical episodes and they need to travel to actually go to hospitals and medical centres. They might be on the NDIS, or they might have life-threatening, health-related areas that they need fixed, and MediStays allows them to actually provide hotel beds and accommodation. They've already done 20,000 bed nights with 700 providers, and they grew at 700% last year. But most importantly, they've got a global scale opportunity, and that's why we're investing in them.
Those sound extremely exciting, Lou, and I'm sure they'll be a success. Now, I understand in the new world of pandemic and with the rollout of vaccines in the COVID era, what trends do you see in 2021 for venture capital investing in Australia?
Venture capital has transformed due to COVID from the way that you raise funds. Now, we raised last year via Zoom a whole fund, and we closed that fund and started making investments all via video conferencing. But most importantly, COVID has offered up opportunities of disruption. And I see massive opportunity in the aged care space, the medtech and health tech space, and also from a climate tech perspective as well. Just, companies like Halo, which had sent 2.2 million messages last year in the aged care setting, due to people being locked out of aged care environments. And these are sort of companies that are helping create a better tomorrow, but also are going to be the next generation in a post-COVID world.
That's amazing, Lou. I'm sure your progress in the COVID-19 era will be very assuring for entrepreneurs out there. Now, how can Australian VCs attract more overseas deals and opportunities, and what help would be needed from the government?
To attract overseas deals, we're going to need help from the government at all levels. We're going to need help from the government, the private and the SMEs to educate them in venture capital. If we can educate government and provide support to these startup and scale-ups, it's going to allow them to grow quicker and have more investment to scale overseas. Just think, when you go overseas, you lose out on the foreign exchange rates when you convert to US dollars or pounds.
Absolutely.
So it's important that we have plenty of capital flowing from institutional investors, VCs, and the government. It's going to be great to see if the government can support venture capital and startups by providing similar things they did in Queensland in the 2000s, which they provided for Boeing, DHL and Virgin, of course, in terms of tax relief and tax benefits for setting up headquarters in places like Queensland. And it's important that institutional investors and fund managers and asset managers also support venture capital, not just as an alternative high-risk asset class, but also something that is now de-risked because of the support of companies like Sprint Ventures in mentoring the very best founders.
Those are some great insights. Now, I'm certain many entrepreneurs have been seeking an answer to this question. What is the one thing that founders need to know about?
It's all about resilience. It's all about learning from your mistakes, and most importantly, failing quickly, failing cheaply, fail internally, but most importantly, fail quietly. Don't make a big deal of it. But most importantly, out of all of that, learn from your mistakes. They're the sort of founders that we back in.
That's a fantastic advice, Lou. I'm sure our audience will agree to this. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
To our audience of entrepreneurs and founders watching this episode, if you want to stay on top of what will make your idea or venture compelling to attract VC interest and investment, follow us weekly across Tomorrow's Tech LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram channels. Want to engage with us? Comment below on what will help Australia to attract more investments from overseas. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching and see you on the next episode of Tomorrow's Tech.
Tomorrow's Tech, presented by 3 Dot Digital.